Finally, after that hour-long banger lo-fi manga music video yesterday for volume 26, we finally got the leaks for JJK chapter 256. Mind you, this one definitely lives up to the hype for the continuation from last week. So let's not waste any more time and discuss the spoilers for the upcoming chapter. Previously, Jujutsu Kaisen showed us another fight scene against Sukuna, this time with Larue and Miguel rescuing Wee and Kusakabe in the nick of time. The series also explains Larue's curse technique, Heart Catch, which allows him to create an imaginary hand that grabs the target even from afar. However, what catches Sukuna's attention is Miguel's Hakuna Lana, a curse technique that enables the sorcerer to expel curses and enhance his physical abilities. Aside from that, in the interestingly funny flashbacks, Choso, Yuji, and Maki also return and lend Miguel and Larue a hand in defeating Sukuna. Unfortunately, that chapter ends with the King of Curses landing a second Black Flash on Larue. The narrator teases us with the reminder that Gojo's lost reversed cursed technique has been restored after striking a second Black Flash in the past, which might mean that Sukuna's reversed curse technique can possibly return in the same way too. So does it? It was just a possibility last week since Jujutsu Kaisen hasn't confirmed it yet. So let's hop on to chapter 256 and see if the community's speculations and predictions are accurate. After Sukuna executes a second Black Flash on Larue, the first page of the Raw goes into a flashback depicting Gojo sitting inside what I assume is a Jujutsu high classroom. Here, he explains the nature of the Black Flash and informs us more of the attributes of the said technique. Specifically, he's asked why he can't intentionally use Black Flash. Gojo asks why would they think he can even do such a feat, but then he realizes everyone thinks so because he has 6 eyes. However, it's not that simple. In fact, Gojo says there's no definite answer to the activation of Black Flash. When he goes all out, he imbues cursed technique in his punches, but even so, hitting a Black Flash depends on luck even for Gojo. This means that the activation of Black Flash doesn't rely on pure strength, given that Gojo, the man known to be the strongest sorcerer of modern times, can't 100% activate the broken skill all of the time. In addition, Gojo says that Nanami has a larger record than him for activating Black Flash, but in terms of total times, he wins. Since Gojo's fight doesn't last that long, he doesn't get much chance to hit Black Flash. However, assuming that this scene happened in the past, the author also notes something regarding the sorcerers who can use Black Flash. Apparently, Yuji will someday surpass Gojo in terms of overall Black Flash hits, meaning that he will have a greater total count of the skill's activation than Gojo and possibly even Nanami as the story progresses. Ever since the first season of the anime, or the early chapters of the manga, if you prefer it that way, Yuji has been hitting numerous Black Flashes in different battles. On top of it, Nanami can no longer fight since he went on an imaginary vacation trip to Malaysia and won't be seen again in this series. You know what I mean. In other words, it's only a matter of time and survivability before Yuji surpasses those two. You'll learn soon enough why Gegas showed us this brief explanatory backstory, because that part is the most hype. But let's return to the manga for now. When the short flashback ends, Sukuna can be seen smiling while looking at his opponents, thinking that he's close to regaining the upper hand now that there's a possibility of his reversed curse technique returning. Naturally, Miguel thinks this is bad because Sukuna might gain momentum. Yuji, on the other hand, wonders if Sukuna might get his reverse cursed technique output back like Gojo, as mentioned on the last page of the previous chapter. Fortunately, Choso realizes that Miguel and Larue are here to help, so he thinks they should team up and obliterate Sukuna before his reverse cursed technique output comes back to normal. Obviously, that is not just a good strategy, but more like the only strategy they can resort to. After all, Sukuna's threat is getting more and more tremendous each second pass, even though his current state has been weakened to the point that Sukuna can't activate his domain. Therefore, before Sukuna reaches that stage again, Yuji traps him with a railing to create a chance for Choso to hit the King of Curses with a supernova. However, Sukuna quickly escapes from Yuji's grasp to avoid the ability from hitting him. once again thwarting the plans of the half-brothers. Despite that, the barrage of attacks refuses to end, and this time, Maki rushes to the scene to follow up on Yuji and Choso's attempts. She catches up to Sukuna and tries to run her sword through him. Unfortunately, Sukuna manages to hold onto her sword to prevent his soul from getting weakened. That time, Choso notices Maki is using air as her foothold while fighting. But what good noticing that will do when Sukuna instantly hits his third Black Flash on Maki. This makes it the King of Curses' third time hitting the Black Flash, while turning it into a second for Maki, who first received a taste of that ability from Sukuna on their brawl back in chapter 253. On the flip side, there are still no hints that Sukuna's reverse curse technique has been restored due to the second Black Flash earlier. He's still not activating his domain nor healing his wounded heart and absent body parts. In spite of that, the third hit on Maki may mean something ominous for the squad, of course, other than Maki getting blown far away into the distance. As if adding to the bad news, Maki notices that Sukuna's normal slash output has raised 2. They destroy the surroundings of the battlefield and inflict fatal wounds on Maki, who fails to dodge most of the attacks from the King of Curses. Afterward, Sukuna tries to send another set of slashes toward Maki, but Choso quickly blocks it with his supernova to avoid more casualties. Instantly, another set of slashes comes towards Choso, but even before they hit, Sukuna is already behind him. Sukuna's crazily swift movements prevent him from reacting on time and intercepting them like he initially did. Sukuna used his slashes as a buff to catch Choso off guard. While Choso tries to face the slash, Sukuna instantly arrives behind and throws him to a wall nearby, hitting him with his fourth Black Flash. Choso manages to reduce the damage by making an armor of blood and holding onto Sukuna's arm. Meanwhile, Yuji immediately comes back with a powerful punch to Sukuna's face. However, there's no way Choso will lose his composure, especially in front of his younger brother. Therefore, the Brokon, Choso says that no matter how many times Sukuna hits a Black Flash and regains his momentum, if Yuji hits him with his punches, Sukuna's cursed energy output and control over Megumi's body will get dull. Their strategy to weaken Sukuna's soul still remains even now, despite Megumi bidding farewell to his will to live or to return to the surface due to her sister's demise in his own hands. It is because Yuji hasn't given up yet on saving his friend, who became his savior when he was pretty down. Put simply, Yuji continues to bring back the favor to Megumi. Going back, Miguel advises Larue to retreat together since they have done enough to assist Yuji and the others. In the first place, Miguel can be remembered as unwilling to help in dealing with the final blow to Sukuna. He simply accepted because of Larue's plea. But even after the conditions Miguel set up in place, his power is just not enough to end the showdown against the King of Curses. True, he didn't complete the mission, but with Larue in this sorry state, the requirement that they should fight together can't now be fulfilled. This is unexpected and somewhat of a shame since we're just starting to have more Miguel moments. Nevertheless, with the current circumstances, maybe even Larue will just stay in the audience seat and forget about the fight. No, actually Larue declines Miguel's offer, saying he still has something he needs to do. We'll get to that point eventually because Larue and his gigantic hand are not over yet, but let's return to the action first. Just like what Choso mentioned earlier, Yuji continues to fight Sukuna and exchanges fierce smashes with him. There's no ounce of fear in his eyes even after Sukuna's fourth Black Flash and the possibility of his reverse curse technique restoring. In fact, Yuji wrestles against Sukuna and holds him in place for a planned attack. Sukuna's eyes widen in surprise because the next thing his multiple eyeballs see is Yuji's stance for the activation of piercing blood right into his face. Man, imagine witnessing something that'll give you terrifying chills and you can still smile madly at it. However, it turns out that Yuji still can't use convergence, so Choso apparently gives his brother something, from which Yuji fires piercing blood. Nonetheless, Sukuna manages to push him away. Yuji immediately gets into the zone for Black Flash, though. At this point, the narrator mentions that Mahito sensed Black Flash from Yuji, and similarly, Sukuna sensed that Yuji was about to hit Black Flash, but his consciousness is forcefully diverted somewhere else. Even though Yuji looks absolutely awesome in this panel, Sukuna notices something more worthy of his attention, possibly an even more dangerous and charming ability to set his eyes on. True enough, that's exactly what happened. While Miguel supports Larue's body so he can stand, the latter commences a sneaky strike with his curse technique. Earlier, Larue said that he has a mission left undone in this showdown, and this is precisely it, since Larue's curse technique not only makes him grab a physical body, but if he takes hold of someone, he can grab their hearts and consciousness too. Possibly this is the true nature of Larue's heart catch, given that the name suggests it. Nevertheless, it is thanks to that ability that Sukuna is caught off guard, and the huge imaginary hand just goes through his skin, rendering him unable to move for a moment. Still, that short millisecond opening is already enough for Yuji to smash Sukuna with a 100% black flash. And man, that resonates so satisfyingly, as it's been a while since we witnessed Yuji stealing back the spotlight from his own series. To be fair, he rarely has moments like that fight against Sukuna, along with Yuta, Rika, and Maki, while they are in Yuta's domain. However, it just doesn't seem like he's the main focus of those skirmishes. The same goes for the events prior to that SmackDown. There's some hype enveloping the series. For example, when Yuji was revealed to have acquired a reverse cursed technique to heal himself. But that's not as grand as this one, honestly. I like this development personally, and I know the fandom is pretty excited to see this in the official translated chapter. Anyway, this scene supports the flashback on the first page of the chapter, as Gojo explained that hitting a black flash doesn't rely on sheer strength or level of cursed technique, but instead on pure luck. Currently, these are the clues we have regarding the activation rate of Black Flash. It sounds cliche, but maybe the fighting spirit, or what do you even call that, is also a factor, since it's highly possible that Yuji is simply fed up by Sukuna's mockery. Just kidding. Still, Yuji's Black Flash is a critical clutch in this situation. As Choso mentioned earlier, this causes Sukuna's cursed energy output to deplete, resulting in his control over Megumi's body becoming dull. As a fair bit of warning, however, Yuji's Black Flash is not the most shocking moment in this chapter. On the final page, Yuji looks so fiercely as he retains his fighting stance while looking at Sukuna with determined, fearless eyes. The narrator then says, by unlocking his potential through Black Flash, amidst the scattering black sparks, Itadori Yuji awakens. And that's the end of the spoilers. So far, we have no idea what new power Yuji will exactly bring forth. However, it's safe to assume that it is closely related to Black Flash, or maybe that's what he awakened after all. We won't know for sure until we get into the next chapters. It is just a mere speculation with no solid proof as of now, but Yuji's comeback here hints that he may be the one to end Sukuna rather than Gojo, as most of the JJK community members expect. I personally have no problems with that and think it's okay, since it is his show. Just give the guy some slack. He suffered devastatingly in the past arcs, especially from the casualties Sukuna brought when he switched with Yuji before. Regardless, this chapter and the following continuations will definitely give Yuji the moment and credit he deserves. In addition to the narrator's speech bubble, there is also the editor's comment at the end of the chapter saying, even the light of hope shines black. This adds to the excitement for the following developments for JJK, and I know the majority can't wait to see the officially translated chapters. Absolutely, once chapter 256 drops, we'll get a deeper understanding of the situation and some extra insights into each character's dialogue. After all, the leaks don't cover the entire speech of every one of them. We still need to wait for a bit, but Saturday or Sunday aren't even that long, counting from today. Anyway, please let me know what you think about Yuji's awakening in the comment section below. Press the like button if you enjoyed the video, and if you don't want to miss out on future JJK spoilers and leaks like this one, definitely subscribe and hit that bell icon. Don't forget to read the official releases, and thank you for watching this review. I hope you enjoy it, and see you in the next video.